a basic family meal. I mean, like, real fucking simple shit. We're gonna do some roasted rosemary garlic potatoes and some balsamic vinegar in that. We're gonna do a meatloaf. My fucking meatloaf fucking rocks. People love my fucking meatloaf. If you hate meatloaf, eat my meatloaf. You will love my fucking meatloaf. I fucking swear. And then we're gonna do candied carrots. Let's get started. We're gonna make some roasted potatoes. You can use red potatoes, blue potatoes, purple potatoes, whatever you want. Here today, we're gonna use white potatoes. You know why we're gonna use white potatoes? Because they were on sale. And we've got olive oil, balsamic vinegar, or ball smack vinegar as we used to call it. Ball smack. There used to be the saute, we used to call it ball smack. The restaurant I used to work at, right? We used to do potatoes du jour for like the week, you know? And our weekly potato special was this or that. And they used to do a rosemary roasted potatoes, which was pretty much very similar to what I'm going to do here today, except they use red potatoes. Once again, I'm using white potatoes because they were on sale, but to be completely honest, you can use whatever kind of potato, aside from like sweet potatoes, I'm assuming, to do this kind of shit. Potatoes are a great and versatile thing because there are thousands of different kinds of potatoes. I don't think there's thousands actually, probably only 100 or so. I don't know. But I mean, there's a variety of different kinds of potatoes. Each one of them has a slightly different taste, but at the same time, most of these potatoes you can use for pretty much whatever you want, and it's not going to really mean a whole lot if you use a different kind of potato for this or that or whatever. I like potato salad with red potatoes, but on a whole, I just like potato salad. Okay, so we're chopping them up into little cubes. No, not really cubes. Cubes would be 6 equal sides. We're not even close to equal. But we're chopping them up into, you know, bite-sized pieces of potato. Potatoes kind of give half hour, 45 to an hour, depending on the potato. Big, giant, thick, roasted potatoes would take you an hour or more, whereas when I do smaller pieces like this, it should only take about a half an hour to 45 minutes until they're done. Alright, here we are. We've got our well-seasoned, or piece of shit cookie tray, as I like to call it. I like to use this thing a lot. And we've got our potatoes here. We're going to pour some olive oil on that. Not a huge amount, just enough. And some vinegar in there as well. I'm going to sprinkle in some rosemary. It's very simple there. And last but not least, some garlic salt. Just plain old simple garlic salt. Once you're pretty much done tossing your potatoes around and they're nice and evenly coated, we're going to pour them onto the greased cookie sheet. I'm going to take this, we're just going to kind of squish them out into one nice even layer. This is actually a lot more potatoes than I intended originally, but because nobody else in my fucking house really likes potatoes like I do. Look, I got stuff on my hand. Okay, I'm ready to go, Mom. How am I going to turn the camera off now because I got shit all over my hand? See the shit on my hand? Look at that stuff on my hand. It's all squishy. Meatloaf. Really easy. Really delicious. If you know how to do it right. Start with an onion. It's one of the earliest meals I used to prepare. And got really good at. I will admit, I watched a cooking show. And I watched this woman do neat things to making meatloaf. And I'm thinking, wow, I can make a meatloaf that good. So I tried. And I made it. And it was delicious. It was the best fucking meatloaf I've ever had. And now I make it fairly frequently. Whew, those are potent little motherfucking onions. Let's get some meat and some other shit to put in the meatloaf. Here we are about to put our meatloaf together. This is really, really a lot of ground beef. Looks like a brain. Anyways, always buy in bulk because you save a fortune. Trust me. On top of that, we've got our smoked Worcestershire sauce, garlic, salt, mustard, Italian seasoninged breadcrumbs. Got some milk, onions, and an egg there. And of course, there's the potatoes waiting to go. So we're gonna put our meatloaf together. Got about a pound of ground beef in the bowl with the onions. We're gonna crack 1 egg. You gotta have an egg. And then we're gonna take breadcrumbs. And I like to use a decent amount of breadcrumbs. Breadcrumb is sort of like a filler. Basically, you know, adds to the size of your meat. Adds to your size. Can you put breadcrumbs on your... Never mind. I'm going to add a little bit of garlic salt. A good couple of shakes of powdered mustard. Trust me, it's really fucking good. Worcestershire sauce. This stuff is like the awesomest stuff in the world. I'm going to add a decent amount of Worcestershire sauce. And then... a couple of drabs of liquid smoke. And then we add, well, this says 1 cup. We're going to add a decent amount of milk. This is going to make it really, really smushy and soft and gooey. And the egg will help it stick together. The milk will make it really, really, really juicy. And that is what we're really looking for in our meatloaf. We're going to mix this mash all together. And it's going to kind of get really, really, really sloppy, messy. The ground beef is going to get very slimy. It's about buying your ground beef. If you buy ground beef, you buy the cheapest shit on the shelf. You're getting just that. You're getting the shit on the shelf. You know, when it says 73% meat and 27% fat, basically, you're getting 27% of that is fat. Most of that fat is going to drip away when you cook, say, cheeseburgers and shit, those flames and stuff like that in the bottom of the, you know, grill and stuff like that. That's because you're using really shitty meat. When you're buying ground beef, always try to start with the 80-20 or better, depending on what you're looking for. Now, meatloaf, you still want some of that fat and juices in it, because once again, you don't want to dry this shit out. You want it to be nice and juicy and tender. Here's our meatloaf. I'm going to smack it around a little bit here. Oh, God, I love pink meat. 20-80 is a good mixture for your meatloaf, because once again, you want that fat to be in there because you want a little bit of the juicy stuff to it. Here we have our meatloaf in a dish. You can put it in a loaf pan. I never do. I always just put it in a dish. Form it, put it in a dish, spray the bottom. That's good. We want to put it in our oven, which should be preheated to about 375, 400 degrees. These roasted potatoes and the meatloaf should cook at about the same time. Let's put our meatloaf in the oven here. Got our meatloaf and our potatoes in the oven. We are ready to cook. You can see that on the bottom they're crisping a little bit. It's perfectly natural, awesome, and the meatloaf is looking good. Here you go, the start of candied carrot. We're just going to turn this up to get it boiling and ready to go. We start the carrots about a half hour in. It's going to take about 15 minutes to get that started. Family dinner night. People don't have a family dinner night, I don't think. I don't think people have family dinners for the most part. Hell, in my house, the kids sit at their own little kiddie table, and Ben sits in his room and plays video games and eats his meals, and I sit at the computer and eat my meals, and Tracy sits in the thingy and eats her meals. Hi, girl. Get it out of your mouth. Hold on. When I was young, I remember we used to have some sort of family dinners every once in a while. It wasn't very often. I think some problems of mine aren't from my parents splitting up. I think it's from when they were together. You know how in movies, the shrink always asks, "Did you ever see your parents naked?" Let me tell you about that. One year for Christmas, the Christmas tree was down in the hot tub room. My parents sat in the hot tub naked while we opened our Christmas presents one year. I'd like to say that I was old or young enough that I don't remember this vividly, but I was like 11. Yeah, shit's still stuck in my head. That sucks. What the fuck was wrong with me? Alright, we're about at that point where we're going to make our candied carrots. Really, really simple. All we need is a little bit of butter, a little bit of brown sugar, and our boiled carrots. Okay, we're going to take our carrots. We've taken it off the high heat. We're going to lower that heat a decent amount. We're going to put about 2 tablespoons of butter in there. Now this is a full, 16-ounce package of carrots that we used here. We're going to let that melt down a decent amount. And we're going to get some brown sugar. As you can see, our butter's about melted. We're going to take brown sugar, literally about 2 or 3 tablespoons. Don't need a massively huge amount, but you need enough that it'll basically melt down, coat the carrots with the butter. This is what our candied carrots are going to start off as. Like I said, you want to have this on medium to medium-low, not too high. I would actually even suggest, instead of using the same burner that you boiled these carrots on, I would turn on the second burner after you've turned this one off. You want to keep stirring this around. You don't want it to burn on the bottom. You just kind of want the butter to get really hot. You want the brown sugar to sort of dissolve into the butter. We're not trying to make caramel or anything like that. We just want it to be nice and gooey.
Kind of looks like carrots that were pooped.
Here's our candied carrots. Looking really nice. As you can see, the potatoes are looking really nice. The meatloaf has reached a point where it is done via the meat thermometer. Once again, you know, good red meat doesn't have to be cooked quite as long as chicken or turkey and such, but, you know, make sure it's kind of on the willish done, medium to medium well. And here we have it. Meatloaf, potatoes, candied carrots. Does that not look delicious, Colleen? So there we have family dinner night. Should you actually have a family? The world is evolving away from the family thing. People are so in tune with things like the internet and their games and everything else that they can play that why would you bother playing something with your family? Should you actually get a family together for dinner night? That'd be awesome. I think we should reinstitute that. Who am I to talk about families? I'm like the worst husband ever. This is my second marriage. I'm doing a really shitty job at this one too, I'm sure. Hope everybody enjoys their meal this evening. I'm looking forward to enjoying mine because I fucking love my goddamn meatloaf. It's fucking awesome. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to check out the cookbook on Amazon.com. Better Than Eating Out. Pink Tacos Not Included by S.J. Moyer. Yes! Enjoy your meal. I'll enjoy mine. Eat well.